The Traveler and I made one each.
Thank you.
What is it?
This flavor... I've taken... apologies, Xiangling, Traveler. Thank you. It tastes wonderful and quite amazingly.
Really? I didn't have a chance to fully explain before. In fact, when Master had filled it... You already knew? You mean you were able to make... Uh-huh. My dad taught... Wait! But isn't this dish from
About that. I do not believe that this... My grandfather was a well-known real... As a child, I used to spend a lot of time with him in his study. He used to say, books are just a bridge that bring us... Since then, my grandfather has passed on. For me, the name Rex Lapis, as I said earlier, this recipe... Still, each time he tried cooking it, he'd always...
Ancient dish? Well, at least in my family it is. We call them chili minced cornbread. Seeing Guoba just reminded me of something. I actually made this dish on the...
How did you first meet?
It was in a cave in the mountains. I ducked inside to get out of the rain and saw an offering table in there. Then I ended up falling asleep, and when I woke up, I found out that Guoba had eaten every last one. Guoba followed me around ever since. We're back... Hold up! Stop the conversation! Look! The stone! It burst open!
It's...
Guoba? What are you... What?
Ah, I see the chili...
Master! Granny, look!
Oh, indeed it does. After all, Guoba is the deity you've been searching for. God of the stove.
Guoba is a god?
You asked me if a sufficiently festive atmosphere. The stove god has always been a deity with great affection for the people, and whose passion can be a technique, a skill, something. Masterful chefs is wonderfully exciting, but just now, when Kuching ate, the enormous power unleashed by the fulfillment of this desire resonated. Of course, the stove god himself is not contained within the statue. The true stove god has been here with us all along. How does it feel, seeing a statue of yourself from your glory days?
Glory days? Wait, what happened? Did Guoba used to be different from...
Oh, yes. But all the wisdom and power he had...
A god surrendering their power to the soil.
The kinds of trials and tribulation, the threat of disaster will never fully disappear from Liyue. Even Wo, he once walked with you over the barren plains until you arrived at... It was his hand that lit the You mortals no longer remember him. But back in the age when you did, he was the closest of all... Marchosius, god of the stove, born from a spark when stone struck stone. He was a god with a great love for humanity and their well-being. Millennia ago, the people sought to expand their city. They built a dwelling on the plains and called it the Gueli Assembly. The stove god cared greatly for the people, turning himself into minions who went into every home, fostering food and solidarity alike. Alas, their home was taken by a flood. The waters ravaged the Gueli Assembly and forced the people back south to Liyue Harbor. Though the distance was not far, the journey was plagued by a terrible storm. For a dozen days, the Adepti stayed by their side. During this time, the stove god cooked an ancient delicacy, flatbread with a meat sauce to stave off the cold and damp, fit for those on the move. Centuries later, disaster and plague arose once more. The stove god would appear no longer, for he placed all of his power into the land itself to quell the calamities. His power expended, and his wits greatly reduced. Thus his body decreased in size. By the time he parted ways with us, he wasn't even the height of a human. He told Rex Lapis and I of the dishes that bring joy and of the secrets of the flame, then went into the mountains and entered into a long slumber. The stove god departed, and Guoba was born. When he awoke, he ate the chili mince cornbread buns placed on the offering table by a young lady in yellow. Though he did not remember the past, he was profoundly moved and decided to follow this young lady thereafter. The stove god had quietly disappeared, but the vendors rose early to hawk their wares. People went out to buy goods, lit their stoves, and cooked food, just as they had done every day for as long as they could remember. In Liyue, things have always been this way. Nature provides, the mountains rejoice. We are blessed by heaven's good grace.
Years have gone by. The world has transformed, but our way of life survives.
Fame and fortune is only a season. It is the moment that we should embrace.
Past meets present. Heritage becomes legacy. Long into the future may we thrive.
You once told me that dining is the profoundest of customs in the human world. To eat well is to... It is a matter of paramount importance, you said. A humble meal of maize and spring water is also My dear friend, Liyue has changed so...
Guoba, this is kind of a huge deal. Why didn't you say anything? He is not who he once was. Even the power of speech evades him now. There is no way he could have told you.
Oh,
Guoba, but...
Xiangling.
Do not be saddened, Xiangling. There are two sides to everything. In this world we inhabit, who can truly be said to live a life free? But he has gone further than us in his journey. He had both wisdom and courage. Everything he took upon himself, he was also ready to part with. So since you are his friend, take good care of him.
I will! You can count on me!
Xiangling, you have an adeptal affinity. Guoba follows you around. The moment he awoke, he was met with the familiar flavor in the... After all that time, he still recognized the dish he had invented. And...
That's right. The taste of one's home cuisine always brings back memories of home.
You may be the first person in history to give the stove god the experience of being a satisfied customer. That makes...
If that's true, I couldn't be happier.
Well then, it's getting late and I still have... Traveler, Paimon, Xiangling, thank you all very...
I guess my dad's probably heard the good news already, but he thinks about you all the time, you know.
Oh, goodness me. Off we go then. Let's saunter over.